What's up, everybody? It's Dude Neil Marie right back in the building, bringing you the latest in the news, hip hop, sports, and entertainment. And if you anybody that do content, right, especially on YouTube, then you already probably have heard of Charleston White. Now, we do a lot of coverage of Charleston White on this channel because we already know what he stands for, and we salute Charleston White. But a lot of people over the last couple of years, especially in mainstream media, they was like, I don't know about that guy. But since that Cam Newton interview that Charleston White did, he's starting to get their attention. Jason Whitlock did a whole full show based on Charleston White, and he is praising the man. Yeah. Everybody that was like, they ain't want to fool with Charleston White, now they want to fool with him because they actually see what this man stands for. And this man is something special, you guys. Yeah, Charleston White is something special. See, yeah, that's why we fool with him. We're doing them. Yeah, that's why we cover him. We fool with Charleston White. Now, we finna get into the video footage of Jason Whitlock, and I'll give y'all my commentary in the end.
Well, MVP. Cam does a podcast. I think he calls it Funky Fridays, and Cam dresses up and does his thing and interviews people. And generally speaking, Cam's podcast isn't that interesting. I peek in on it from time to time. This conversation with Charleston White was amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I've seen TikTok videos of Charleston White, and they're very profane, they're very ghetto. I didn't get Charleston White. I used to see his stuff flash across, and I was like, who is he and why is he important? Where did he come from? Is he a comedian? Is this serious? What's going on here? I was very confused. And he's friends with Alex Stein. Primetime Stein does a show here at the Blaze. You guys know Primetime. He's been on this show, friend of the program. Primetime goes to city council meetings around the country in the Texas area, anywhere he can, and clowns people. Primetime is friends with Charleston White. And I would say a month ago, Primetime reached out to me, Jason, you got to connect with Charleston White. You got to have him on your show. And I was like, man, I don't know. Doesn't that dude cuss a lot? And my show's from a biblical worldview, and I'm just not sure if he fits what I do. And so I was uninterested. And again, I didn't really know what Charleston White was about. I had never sat down and consumed some full podcast or a full interview of Charleston White. Cam Newton made me do that. Many of Charleston White's highlights from that interview started screaming across social media. And it's like, whoa, he went off because, he curses a lot. He uses the N-word a lot. And again, we're going to play a lot of clips from him and Cam. And this is why I'm telling you all that today's an adult show. This isn't for you and your 10-year-old boy or 12-year-old daughter. This is for adults because Charleston White is pretty raw. What I learned during the 3 hours of watching him with Cam Newton is like, whoa, there is real substance to Charleston White. And I started seeing like, oh my God, this is why Primetime Stein is trying to get me to reach out to Charleston White, because Charleston White says a lot of things that we say here on Fearless. He just says it in a very profane, comedic, raw, politically incorrect way. Not that I'm not politically incorrect, but this is like Andrew Dice Clay and Richard Pryor talking from, I wouldn't even say a biblical worldview, but a common sense worldview. And so this Cam Newton interview shook me up. And it's a 3-hour interview. I've watched it twice. And that's in probably, I probably watched it 5-6 days ago. And then I watched it again this morning, preparing to do this show or whenever it came out. Maybe it came out on Friday or Thursday. I can't remember. I watched it then, and then I watched it again this morning. And so I want to walk you through step by step some of the comments, let you learn a little bit more about Charleston White and why I'm calling him. I got 2 nicknames for Charleston White. The first one is Malcolm X rated. That's when I sat down and listened to him in totality, I was like, this is like the porno version of Malcolm X. This is like the X-rated version of Malcolm X. That's the only way I can compare this guy. Charleston White, like Malcolm X, got in a lot of trouble early in life. Charleston White went to prison for murder at 14 years old. And he unpacks this in his interview with Cam Newton and explains things in a detail and in a rawness that's like, whoa, this dude is transparent like we are here at Fearless. Now, again, so the first clip I want to play from you is early in the interview with Cam Newton. Charleston White talks about something. This is probably in the first 5 to 10 minutes of his interview with Cam Newton. He somehow dives into talking about Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, and I found this very fascinating. Let's play the clip.
When the FBI studied Malcolm and when they studied Martin, one went and spoke and came back to the hotel and prayed and talked on the phone with his wife, and they don't have no dirt on him. He was Muslim. The other one went and spoke and came back to the room and partied like a motherfucker in every town he went to. That was the Christian. So it's a difference. One was studied full time.
How you know that though?
Because
now you're using my platform trying to bring all this speculation of Martin Luther King.
Because it's documented evidence. The FBI said that Malcolm X was a saint compared to the doctor. It's very well documented that Dr. Martin Luther King was just like any man. He was a whoremongering preacher. It's documented. Compared to Malcolm, who has no documentation of doing anything such like the preacher. See the difference?
I hear exactly what you're saying, but that doesn't necessarily rectify you not being unknown to your religion. I think.
I don't want to be a religious man. I don't want to be Muslim. I don't want to be Christian. I don't want to be Hindu because I don't pick up the books. I want to be able to grab hold to the spirit.
Yes.
Most of the people who I heard talk the books and can recite the books don't show the spirit.
Yeah.
They can't access the spirit.
But
so I'm playing that. One, he said something fascinating about Malcolm and Martin that people knew, but also I just want to give you a taste of where he's coming from as it relates to religious faith. But the point he's making about Malcolm and Martin, it speaks to something we try to address on this show, or we certainly are going to spend more time about black men and Christianity, and why someone like an Andrew Tate leaves Christianity and turns to Islam, turns to the Muslim religion. And this is a burden that we as Christians have to carry and have to accept and acknowledge, that we talk a good game, but we don't act it out. Our actions aren't in alignment with what we say. And that's why a lot of black men have left the Christian faith, and why masculine, serious men, and again, you guys have heard me talk about Andrew Tate and what I think about him and his lack of credibility and all that. But Andrew Tate has tapped into men who are like, hey man, let's cut out the BS. Let's be real about it. And they consider whether they think Islam or the Muslim religion is flawed or not. They at least, it's real, it's authentic. They try to live out their actual principles. And those of us in the Christian faith, we don't. We pay it lip service, but are our actions actually consistent with the lip service that we pay? So that's one of the flaws that we as Christians have been making. And if you've watched this show, you've heard me talk about Jason Whitlock sitting up in a strip club, talking about his Christian faith. You can't do that. I'm making a fool out of a very special religion. I'm making a fool out of, or I'm representing God in a very foolish way. And so that's, and again, now Charleston White's being very clear. He's not interested in being a Muslim, but he is pointing out like, hey, one group is authentic and their icon, Malcolm X, actually lived out his religious principles, and the biggest black Christian icon did not. It's something we have to deal with. And so I found that interesting. And so I'm playing this just so you get an understanding of who Charleston White is. And so here's Charleston White talking about his family and what he picked up from his family upbringing.
We got granddaddy, we got grandmama, we got aunts, we got cousins. Mm-hmm. So we got a big family. Yeah. And we got males though, but they ain't the right kind of male. Granddaddy got a barbershop. Granddaddy went to the military. Granddaddy retired from Paul Lumber's yard. Granddaddy worked at the bus barn. He the supervisor at the bus barn, but he pimping. He got all stealing. Granddaddy catch a major federal drug case and make the front page paper, right? So I remember my mother telling us when I was like in the 5th grade, don't go to school and tell nobody that's your granddaddy. His name Freddie White. My uncle is a pimp. My granddaddy got the barbershop. I'm growing up with granddad and uncle and them at the barbershop, seeing the hustlers and the players and the pimps. It's the black exploitation era, it's the 80s. Mm-hmm. So I got men in my life, but my mother is contrasting and countering what we're seeing.
Right.
She's trying to raise us to be opposite of her brother and her daddy. So she's trying to instill good morals. Who is more than the in the black family? Because Uncle Wayne is the pimp with the Rolls Royce. Uncle Wayne is the pimp walking through with the briefcase full of money, the trash bags of money. So as a kid, you see the dynamics of how the family treat Uncle Wayne. Everybody kiss his ass in here. So everybody kiss his ass. So it's no different than a D-boy uncle who in the household with the mama who got the favorite brother. He coming through with the pants sagging and the gun. The nephew and them is picking up these traits. As he stopped through and get us with money, get out with money, rub them on the head, let them ride in the car with. I was a little king, like the little kid finesse two-time guy. I was that little with my uncle now, being exposed to this. So that's the dynamic of the loving single black mother who's God-fearing, who's trying to teach her kids good morals and values, but she don't have the time because she got to work and provide a good living for them.
And there's a missing piece, and the father being
absent of the father.
Yeah.
So the absence of the father, who's supposed to step in? An uncle, a cousin, somebody within the
male
family.
figure.
Within the family before she have to go out and get a coach.
Correct.
There's no positive male figures. They teaching us.
So he's talking about the matriarchal culture that I talk about constantly on this show, and how it cannot work and how it cannot produce good fruit. And again, this show, some people sound like, oh, Whitlock just hard on black women. No, I'm doing exactly what Charleston White is doing. The failure of the black man is why our family structure is in tatters. And it's why we have a matriarchal culture that produces bad fruit. And so before watching this Cam Newton interview, completely unaware of like, oh, there was this kind of depth to what Charleston White is talking about. I see the viral clips, I see the cursing and the profanity. I had never taken in like, oh, what is Charleston White really representing? Well, who is he and where did he come from and why are people responding to him? And it comes off like, oh, this dude is a little bit like the next wave, new wave Kevin Samuels. Or a different version of Kevin Samuels, this internet sensation. I didn't know what he was about, but now I'm starting to get a deeper understanding. Like, oh, this dude is unpacking the things that I talk about in a way that connects with people from the hood, people in the ghetto, people that are used to having things unpacked in a very profane way. So he then goes on to make a follow-up comment about what he calls the typical single mama household or something. And I want to play that. And then we're going to transition from that into a little bit more of his background. But let's play the clip of him talking about the typical single mama household.
African-American parent home.
It's so not problematic.
It's trauma-based.
It's trauma.
It's trauma
in that household that's festering, and you're building the next generation of killers, pimps, drug dealers, because that's what they see.
Out of fear. You do this. It's some mothers. All my partners, they got the gangster mamas. Them some of the most hardened killers in the streets because their mothers groomed them. Was groomed to be hard on a woman. He's very abusive because his mother taught him these traits. And whatever mama teaches us, we stand on it. I'm gonna say it again. Whatever mama teaches us, we stand on it. That's why I repeat say the mama said that the Bible. So if you the street mama, that's why the dangerous. But the loving, over nurturing mama is just as dangerous as him not because she handicaps him. And what ends up happening is, out of his rebellion to be free as a boy and a male, he overcompensates with being over masculine. Because mama done gave him all this everything, so he try to play over masculine. He too tough. That's too tough. Over masculinity is the driving force for to crash out. Want to fight all the time. That's mama. He don't know to think because being analytical is a man's natural behavior, not an emotional state. We've been groomed to be emotionally responsive and emotionally driven men because of our loving mothers. She's so loving, she only whoop us when she's frustrated.
I had no idea that there was this kind of depth. I didn't know this was his agenda. I can't play everything that was said on there, but Charleston White, and we're about to get into the next part of his life, but Charleston White described himself to Cam Newton as a frustrated activist. He comes out of prison, or comes out of juvenile detention, prison, whatever, incarceration, and he's trying to reach young people so they don't make the same mistakes that he made. He goes on to talk about how, and again, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but he goes on to talk about how when he was institutionalized and he fell into the gang deal, but that was never really him. And so when he came out, he's trying to reach young people. He's trying to be an activist, or not when he came out, but when he finally got his life turned around over the last, I think he's 46. And ever since his mid 30s, he's been trying to be an activist. And then he's figured out, like, if I'm actually going to reach these kids, I got to talk to them in a way that they're used to being talked to. And he created this persona and this personality. And now all of a sudden, he's got this platform and he's got this following.
Yeah, you see, a lot of us that have been paying attention, we already knew exactly what Charleston White stood for. And he stand on business. See, a lot of the media, people in the media, right? They was like, nah. See, Charleston White was playing chess. Yeah. While a lot of the media people was playing checkers. See, Charleston White was doing exactly what he planned to do. He was getting people attention. And then he'll sprinkle in the real talk. See, that's what the same thing that Dave Chappelle do, if y'all understand what Dave Chappelle do. See, Dave Chappelle talk with a sense of with the cancel culture. So Dave Chappelle put it in a joke and then tell you the truth behind the joke. See, that's what Charleston White do. Charleston White is a leader, I'm telling y'all. Charleston White is the truth. Now he got everybody's attention. Now everybody antennas is up. Charleston White got everybody's attention. Exactly what he was planning to do from the beginning. Now I would love for you guys to let me know in the comment box below what y'all think about Jason Whitlock take on Charleston White. And if this is your first time to the channel, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe on your way out. And make sure you tap that notification bell for all videos so you can get notified whenever we drop new content. This dude, I'm in the building, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Yeah.